Elon Musk, I asked God about you. Here's what I heard. Open it immediately. When the notification flashed on the screen, Elon Musk, I asked God about you, and here's what I heard. Open it immediately. The world seemed to pause. It wasn't just another digital ping in the endless stream of distractions. There was an inexplicable gravity to it, a pull that made the heart skip. The words didn't feel like an order, they resonated like a summons from something deeper. No threats lurked inside, no glittering promises of wealth or acclaim. Just a single, stark line, you are seen. For the recipient, someone who had long felt overlooked, insignificant, and adrift in the crowd, these two words struck like a revelation, impossibly personal yet profoundly universal. They lingered in the quiet aftermath, pondering if this was literal truth or a symbolic echo, if Elon Musk had truly consulted a higher power or if the message merely mirrored an inner truth yearning to surface. But the why faded into irrelevance. What truly counted was the impact, a subtle shift, an inner stirring, an awakening that whispered of potential. In the days that followed, subtle signs began to emerge. A fellow commuter offered a genuine smile on the subway. A dormant project reignited with fresh energy. Conversations once hollow now brimmed with purpose. It was as though the cosmos itself had drawn nearer, murmuring, "You have gifts to share." Their approach to work evolved, not driven by blind ambition, but by deliberate intent. Tasks became rituals of devotion, obstacles, sacred trials where fear surrendered to bravery. They ceased waiting for ideal moments and began forging them through incremental actions. Weeks stretched into months, and the transformation deepened. Setbacks persisted, yet they no longer bred hopelessness, they offered lessons. Each failure became a portal, every unresolved query, a guide. They attuned to the pauses between thoughts, to the intuition that seeped through the mundane like dawn's first light. And when weariness threatened, those words resurfaced like a steady pulse, "You are seen." They served as a reminder that their life held significance beyond accolades or visibility, a vital strand in a grand, immeasurable tapestry. One starlit evening, reflecting on the initial message, they considered Elon not as a literal messenger, but as an emblem of human audacity, the audacity to envision and bridge the mortal with the eternal. The sender mattered less than the listener. In the night's hush, they murmured, "If you're listening, show me the next step." No booming reply came, only an innate wisdom that had always resided within. Keep creating. Keep believing. Keep evolving. The message wasn't about foresight or celebrity, it was a nudge that faith and vision intertwine, granting license to act, to innovate, to embrace each day as a holy endeavor. So they pressed on, converting doubts into momentum, silences into melodies. Whenever they wavered, the phrase reverberated gently, "You are seen." They grew attuned to the world's underlying calm once fear's clamor subsided. Sunbeams through the window felt like dialogues, the breeze against the pane, like shared breaths. Yet beneath this serenity simmered a quiet tension, the mind craved evidence, questioned the reality. Had God truly spoken via someone like Elon? The doubt recurred, but each iteration dulled its edge. The inquiry itself paled against the courage it ignited, the resolve to introspect and unearth something redeemable. At the office, no overt miracles unfolded. Emails piled up, meetings dragged, coffee grew cold. But inwardly, a flame endured. When irritation flared, the words intervened, "You are seen." This simple mantra reshaped interactions. Colleagues became mirrors of that invisible affection that had jolted them awake. They resumed writing, not for audiences, but for self-discovery. Pages filled with nascent prayers, dream sketches, gratitude fragments. Revisiting them evoked reuniting with a long-lost companion. Unpolished and sincere, they fostered tranquility. Nights still brought skepticism's shadow, an old acquaintance. Perched on the bed's edge, they'd whisper, "If this is mere illusion, let it alter me nonetheless." For even tentative belief reshaped their reality, not by changing events, but by refining their navigation through them. Faith revealed itself not as a blinding epiphany, but as a cadence. Persisting amid mystery, opting for empathy over cynicism. One rainy dusk, strolling home amid shimmering puddles and neon glow, they felt a surge of compassion for it all, the fractured pavements, the passers-by, the chaos, the flaws. It seemed the universe reciprocating a smile. Arriving home, they scrawled a note and tacked it above their desk. The message wasn't about its origin. It was about who I'm becoming because of it. Weeks blossomed into a season of subtle metamorphosis. The once jarring message now thrummed like a background heartbeat. No longer a shout, it hummed. Mornings retained their weight, days their haze, but an overarching benevolence underpinned it all. They took to walks to clear the mind, following a park path near the city's fringe. Initially mere exercise, it evolved into ritual. Past a pond where geese drifted like floating invocations, each bend taught mindfulness, a falling leaf, damp earth's aroma, water's shifting gleam. Every detail affirmed existence as ongoing communion. They began to suspect divine discourse wasn't an isolated occurrence, but an eternal interchange always unfolding. Occasionally, old anxieties resurfaced. What if it all dissolved? What if the message was a hopeful mirage? Yet recalling the shifts within sufficed. Not external changes, but internal landscapes. Even ambiguity became sanctified. They carried a pocket notebook to capture vibrant moments. A stranger's generosity, a car's fleeting tune, sunlight-piercing alleys. These sufficed as evidence. Divinity, they realized, conceals itself in the obvious, perceiving it constitutes reverence. During a blackout, candlelit, they reviewed entries. Patterns emerged, less about resolutions, more about presence. The flame danced as they murmured, "Perhaps this is your voice, through what endures in darkness." Silence lost its terror. Morning meditations followed, stillness softening thought's torrent. Tears sometimes flowed unbidden, like clouds releasing rain, permission to relinquish control, to trust emergence. Relationships evolved. Friends once perceiving them as unsettled now drew solace from their poise. They spoke sparingly, listened profoundly. Disputes mellowed, talks gained depth. A compassionate intelligence rooted, not cerebral but heartfelt. Work transformed too. Routine duties, coding, emailing, conversing. became offerings. Spirituality integrated, infusing the everyday with heightened focus. A dream revisited, Elon, not as tycoon or idol, but in a grimy workshop, crafting something inconsequential. He glanced up, creation is prayer in action. Keep building. Awakening, the words lingered fragrantly. Creativity intensified, they designed, authored, constructed, aided. Approval ceased mattering, failure, a non-issue. Each endeavor extended the dialogue begun by that enigmatic alert. Challenges arose, failed ventures, miscommunications, isolation, but they wove into the pattern. Faith immunized against suffering, it viewed pain as fertile seed. By the lake at sunset, enlightenment dawned. I asked God about you, wasn't a celestial judgment, but the cosmos querying itself via humanity. Who might you become, believing you're already perceived, already cherished? The response manifested in deeds, not declarations. They inhaled the crisp air, feeling diminutive yet boundless, and softly vowed, I'm still attuned. Time advanced imperceptibly, reshaping all. The spark of a message now infused every breath. Pre-dawn awakenings brought tea-sipped serenity, the sky's hues, silent exchanges. They observed how attentiveness influenced others. At work, genuine listening steadied spaces. Colleagues confided, sensing equilibrium in proximity. Presence emerged as the profoundest gift. Yet queries lingered. Sleepless nights revived cynicism, does any of this count? But life countered subtly, a timely call dispelling solitude, a serendipitous melody, a random act of grace. Certainty became superfluous, wonder sufficed. A countryside retreat beckoned. Amid swaying fields, a vastness stirred, part recollection, part instinct. Not a spectacle, but affirmation that all life converses identically, insect buzz, wire hum, heartbeat. Each rhythm declared, you belong. Beneath starry skies, they whispered, this is your intent. No thunder replied, only a gentle breeze, response aplenty. Returning, they felt reconnected to the mundane's sanctity. Essays, notes, letters posted online drew responses, your words reached me in need. The circle expanded, intangible yet tangible. That God, in the message encompassed not just heavenly divinity, but the creative, compassionate echo in every endeavor. Months later, at a gathering, queried about change, they replied, revelation isn't something that befalls you, it's something that flows through you. Silence enveloped the room, rich and complete. They grasped it fully. I asked God about you, invited recalling inherent worth, living as testament that love's gaze suffices for action, creation, kindness. Thus they lived, subtly luminous, intentionally human. Mornings, gratitude prayers, evenings, dialogues with the unknown. No longer chasing omens, they embodied them. Years passed, marked by steady rhythms of innovation and benevolence. The message's essence permeated every inhalation. Existence itself became the omen. They imparted wisdom indirectly, chats, gestures. Encounters left others uplifted, as if recalling forgotten truths. They seldom referenced the original alert, Elon Musk, I asked God about you, now a collective axiom: everyone is seen. One afternoon, mentoring a bewildered youth, the loop closed. Echoing queries: does my effort signify? Am I adequate? Mirrored their past. Smiling, they said, you're already seen. Validation lies not externally, but in persistence, in caring deeply enough to inquire. The youth's expression softened, and in that shift, the journey's purpose crystallized. That night, gazing at rain-streaked windows under lamplight, the world felt fragile yet vast. They breathed: if questioned about me anew, say I'm attuned. Say I've comprehended. A profound calm descended, the uncertainty-born quiet now harbored peace. No further interpretation needed, they had incarnated its meaning. Retiring to sleep brought no climactic finale, no ultimate epiphany, merely a profound assurance that awakening, creating, loving, and honoring the sacred in the routine fulfills every divine inquiry. And within existence's vast, unseen weave, the reply resonated, tender and everlasting: you are seen. Days lengthened in tranquility, yet amid stillness, the world conversed anew. Mornings, sunlight etched wall patterns like cryptic scripts. Urban din, once grating, now throbbed rhythmically, affirming every life's purposeful vibration, observed or not. One afternoon in an ancient library, a weathered tome parted to passages paralleling their path, unseen guides aiding the steadfast, quiet valor forging fate, love emerging through mindfulness and tenderness. Each line echoed the months-old message, as if the cosmos had scripted a personal gospel of awareness. They revived journaling, not for posterity or recall, but communion with life's subtle force. Entries, observations, prayers, leaf arcs, pavement step cadences, wall light flickers. These trivialities unveiled as divine vernacular, a perpetual exchange most ignore. Pausing in the park, eyes shut, deep breaths attuned them. Prolonged listening transmuted sounds. Branch whispers into patience hymns, traffic into endurance anthems, laughter into graspable sagacity. Every noise instructed, every motion exemplified hidden harmony. Post-lake stroll one eve, clarity settled, not explosive, but steadfast. Visions, moments of wonder, quiet awe, all converged here, life as dialogue, each person's focus, purpose, and compassion a reply to cosmic queries. They enacted this subtly: workplace kindnesses, attentive pauses, home duties handled meticulously. Public smiles, stranger assists. Ripples formed, intersecting others. Days brought reciprocal gestures, eyes alight with familiarity. Unseen deeds proved mightier than spectacles. Doubts invaded nocturnally: do I truly impact? Is this sufficient? Responses arrived sensorially: chest warmth, reassuring thrum, affirming attentive action already fulfills existence's riddle. In these modest rituals, the message's core emerged. Being seen by God or cosmos isn't a summons to fame, but to perceive, nurture, engage mindfully. To inhabit each instant wholly, even unobserved. Gradually, this cadence molded not just perception, but actuality. Remote notions materialized, collaborations flowed, people drew near, drawn by the serene conviction of a listener to life. In lakeside twilight, they murmured to the breeze, "I'm listening. I'm alert. I perceive now." The world echoed subtly, infinitely, in magnificent and minute ways. The screen's vision had evolved into a life of conscious, spiritual fullness. The message, you realized, had never been about fortune or fame. It was about your own sacred worth, about living as if you were already seen and loved, about acting from that certainty. So you did. You wrote again, not for applause but to listen, sketched dreams, offered gratitude, and watched the pages fill with honest, unpolished truth. Some nights, doubt visited with the old trick of fear, but even then the line persisted in your chest, "You are seen." It softened the way you treated others, turning every room you entered into a space where presence could take root. The more you listened, the more a different intelligence settled in, a compassionate form of knowing that thrived in ordinary acts done with exquisite attention. Your work changed not because you chased miracles but because you became a steady lighthouse for others' confusion. You stopped chasing certainty and learned to inhabit wonder, to see every ordinary thing as a possible sign and every small act as a form of prayer. Dreams began to arrive with a new texture, Elon, in a workshop, not as celebrity but as someone who hands you a workshop of your own making. He spoke again in a way that felt like a parable, "Creation is prayer in motion. Keep building." When you awoke, the impression lingered like the scent after rain. From then on, your creativity deepened. You built, you designed, you helped, you stopped waiting for permission and started making your own genuine opportunities. There were more trials, projects collapsing, loneliness hovering, misunderstandings cropping up, but the rhythm stayed. Faith is an immunity to pain, a trust that pain can become seed. Under a sunset by the lake, you finally understood what that first question might mean, the universe asking itself who could be reached if you believed you were already seen, already loved. The answer wasn't loud, it was a quiet knowing that you were listening, that you were awake, that you could see now. So you moved through life as one who notices. Morning light through the window became a conversation, the wind against the glass, breath. You kept a notebook in your pocket to capture moments when life felt alive, kindness from a stranger, a melody half heard in a passing car, sunlight slipping between buildings. These entries weren't proofs, they were proof of presence. They whispered that divinity hides in plain sight, and noticing it is a form of worship. During a power outage, you reread those notes by candlelight and saw a pattern. Every entry pointed toward presence, not answers. The candle's flicker became a symbol of faith, light that remains when the world goes dim. From that night forward, silence no longer frightened you. You began to meditate, to sit with the rush of thoughts until it softened into a clear space. Tears sometimes came, not about despair but as permission to let go of control and trust the unfolding. Relationships shifted as you moved with a new gentleness and deep listening. People spoke less, listened more, and the room grew steadier in your presence. Work transformed into a discipline of attention where even routine tasks felt like offerings. Spirituality ceased to be a separate life, it became the way you did the ordinary with extraordinary care. One night, a dream of Elon reappeared, not as an icon but as someone who built something useless with his own hands. He looked up and said, "Creation is prayer in motion. keep building. You woke with the words still clinging to you, and your work followed suit, deepening in texture and meaning. Setbacks remained, but you learned to see pain as a seed and the world as a mirror that returns the care you offered. Over time, you grasped a deeper truth. The original message was not a forecast of a future triumph but an invitation to become more fully yourself. Who could you become if you believed you were already seen? The answer unfolded not in a shout but in a living diligence. The daily act of showing up, of attention, of kindness, of listening. Years passed with quiet grace. The message, once a spark, became a constant hum embedded in every breath. You woke early to watch the city wake, to drink the hush before the day's bustle, to feel that you were part of a larger conversation. The world began to speak back in subtler, more generous ways. A familiar song at just the right moment, a stranger's kindness that lit your day, a colleague confiding in you because you carried a calm you had learned to cultivate. You taught by living your truth, that being seen by God, or by the universe, is not about public recognition but about visibility through honest presence. You became a translator of the sacred into the ordinary, guiding others not with sermons but with quiet, steadfast example. People who met you found themselves lighter, reminded of something they had forgotten to notice in themselves. The origin of the message faded into the background, but its pattern endured, invitation to remember your own worth, to live as if you were already loved, to work with care, to be kind, to listen. And when someone asked what had changed, you answered simply, "You're already seen." The proof isn't impressed on a wall or shouted from a stage. It lives in how you keep showing up, how you care enough to ask, how you stay present. In the end, you understood that to be seen by love itself is enough reason to act, to create, to be human. The voice that began as a question became a current that runs through your days, turning the ordinary into something sacred. The universe didn't stop speaking at a single moment or through a single person. It speaks through you now, through every thoughtful act, every patient listening, every act of attention. And so you live, awake, attuned, and true to the quiet miracle that you are seen. The days grew long and quiet, but in the stillness the world began to listen to you in return. Sunlight cast language across walls, the city hummed with a steadier heartbeat. In a forgotten library, a book seemed to open itself to passages that echoed your journey. Lines about unseen guidance, about courage quietly shaping destiny, about love arriving through attention. It felt less like reading than remembering. You returned to journaling, not for others, not for memory, but as a way to converse with the enduring power you felt. You learned to notice again, to hear the language of the ordinary, the crackle of light on a wall, the pattern of a leaf's fall, the cadence of footsteps. Each sensation was a teacher. Each small act a form of